From News 3 Now, this is breaking news.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Live at 4. We begin with breaking news. The United States has seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela amid a months-long buildup of military forces.
President Trump has confirmed this to reporters this afternoon. The vessel was under sanctions, according to Bloomberg. This comes as the U.S. military builds up forces around the South American country in a bid to remove Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro. We will bring you the updates as we get them.
But now to the weather. The snow has mostly moved out, but some of the coldest weather we've seen so far this year is on the way in.
First Warn meteorologist Blaise Keller is here to break the news to us.
Yeah, I'll try to rip this Band-Aid off. Do we want it quick so the pain's gone, or do we want it slow so maybe it's not as bad? Either way, the cold is coming. If you're not a fan of it, the good news is it's only going to last for about 2 days. And it's starting to move in now. Temperatures are in the mid to upper 20s. Northwesterly winds are keeping us on the cooler side. There is a bit of a wind chill out there, but that is going to be nothing compared to the wind chill values that we are expecting as we head into the weekend. So it feels about 10 or so degrees cooler than the actual air temperatures. We got fresh snow. Even though we got the cloud cover, we have those northwesterly winds. So we have 2 of the 3 factors that contribute to some of those colder wind chills, especially with the dry air as well. Wind chill values anywhere between 20 to 30 degrees below zero expected Saturday and Sunday. We're going to take a look at just how cold our actual air temperatures are and time out when the cold leaves coming up in the full forecast.
That was pretty good, Blaise. Just rip it off. Well done. All right. First at 4, during last night's meeting, the Madison Common Council passed a resolution to increase housing choices in the city of Madison.
2 of those changes are allowing 3 to 4 unit buildings in residential areas with transit-oriented development overlay, as well as the approval to create cottage courts in most residential districts. Nash Dara has the story. Nash?
That's right, Brady. The major takeaway from last night's Common Council was the addition of cottage courts, which allow for a collection of up to 8 homes that can all be on a single zoning lot as long as they all surround a center courtyard or shared space. One of the influential voices for this approval was Alder Dina Nina Martinez Rutherford, who started pushing for the idea of cottage courts when she began in office back in 2023. And after what has been now years of hard work, she is stoked to see the layout finally come to life in Madison.
It's to provide more housing options. People want housing choice. They want to be able to make a decision about housing that kind of meets their needs. And right now we've got a lot of market rate and a lot of higher priced home ownership options. This is hopefully to meet some of the missing middle housing that is so desperately needed. And I think there's a reason it's called missing middle, because there's not a whole lot of it.
The high pricing market for homes in Madison is partially due to the few amount of homes that there are. So the addition of these houses on TOD overlay among the smaller cottage court homes will help with increased housing and decreased pricing in the future. Alder Martinez Rutherford also proposed for cottage courts to allow single-family detached homes, duplexes, and twin homes, as long as the total number of units does not exceed more than 8.
Nash, thank you. Governor Evers and the state's DNR are directing under $160 million toward replacing lead service lines in Wisconsin. Milwaukee is getting more than $50 million of that, with Racine getting $40. Manitowoc is getting more than $14 million. State officials say the effort is part of a long-term push to ensure Wisconsin families, especially children, have access to safe, clean drinking water.
Morgan Geyser, who was convicted in the Slender Man stabbing and recently escaped from a Madison group home, is no longer in the Waukesha County Jail. Her attorney requested that she be moved to a mental health facility while she awaits a hearing on her conditional release. Officials have not released where Geyser is currently located. When she escaped, she cut off her ankle monitor, but police were not notified until 10 hours later. The Department of Corrections is now modifying its procedures, and they have confirmed that 3 staff members are on administrative leave. Madison police are looking for information after a shooting injured a man on Madison's east side. Police responded to Cottage Grove Road and Dempsey Road near the KFC around 6 yesterday evening for reports of shots fired. They found a vehicle with a bullet casing inside. After investigating the area, police found a man with a minor gunshot wound. He did not need treatment at the hospital. If you have any information about this, contact the police department or Madison Area Crime Stoppers.
Baraboo police say a pedestrian is recovering after being seriously hurt when a car hit her on Highway 136. At about 8 last night, police were called to the area near Menards, where they found a 33-year-old woman with severe injuries. She was taken to a Madison hospital and is now in stable condition. Investigators say the weather and road conditions likely played a role. Officers are reminding pedestrians and drivers to be extra careful during the winter, especially during active weather.
A new report details ideas to redevelop the space around American Family Field in Milwaukee. It comes 2 years after Governor Evers approved a $500 million funding plan to update the stadium and its surrounding area. The study suggests plans to add a hotel, apartments, retail, offices, and gathering spaces outside the stadium, which would mean losing some parking. In some options, plans would call for 1,000 apartments, a 200-room hotel, and 1,000 feet of retail and office space that would cut up to 3,000 parking spaces. Project leaders say it's still in the early stages and final decisions are still a ways off. Well, coming up next on Live at 4, we want to remind you that Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company will be here later this afternoon to answer your plant questions. So if you have a question, email it now at tips@channel3000.com. She'll be here in a little bit.
Always one of our favorite friends. And speaking of one of our favorite friends, Josh is in the 608 with the Madison Reading Project. He's highlighting the community book drive and how to get those books in the hands of local children.
And not everyone is feeling the Christmas cheer. Nearly double the amount of adults say they expect the holidays this year to be stressful. We'll find out what's behind the pressure coming up.
And wind chills are dropping double digits below zero this weekend. Blaze is back after this with the First Warn forecast.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Today is the final day of the community book drive at the Madison Reading Project as they look to get books in the hands of the youngest readers in the 608.
Josh Sprider is in Madison with a follow-up.
We are at their book center, which is looking a little bit different today. It is the final day of the community book drive, and Rowan Childs is joining us today. Rowan, good to see you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being in this empty book center.
Yes, it's empty for good reason because today's the final day. You're shipping off those books to all those community members right now.
That's right. We're at several locations this week and next week, and we've been packing up all of those books to make sure that we have enough books at all of these toy and book giveaways. And yes, there's lots of empty shelves. We're still taking those new book donations that you can still send us. If they don't make it here on time for this week or next week, we're going to be refilling the shelves, so don't worry about that. And we also are still taking financial donations for the drive and through the end of the year because we need to make sure we can do it all over again next year.
So this has been a 4-week push. It's grown year after year. You guys are at 75% of your goal today, so you still need a big ask of the public today.
That's right. We're hoping everybody will still help us pitch in and make sure that we can make it to our goal for this drive because we want to make sure that everyone is able to have those gifts of books and reading and literacy for this holiday season and winter break. It's just one of those things that's so important as what we feel like is a human right is being able to read and have books of your own.
Oh, absolutely. And having those books in hands, that is more important than ever before. So if people want to help, how can they do so?
Yeah, if they want to go to our website, madisonreadingproject.com, you can find all the information, or if you want to mail a check, you can absolutely do that as well. The only other thing would be give us a phone call today, but we would love for everybody to help pitch in and get us to that final point.
Awesome. Well, Rowan, thank you so much for your time. Here's the final push. We appreciate it. We have everything you need to know up on channel3000.com as well with Rowan Childs and Wordy Birdie. I'm Josh Sprider, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Josh. I have a hunch that this weather will make anyone want to stay inside with a good book, Blaze.
That is right. I've got to continue reading my new one, which I can't remember the title exactly, but it's like The Sound of a Hungry Snail Eating. It's actually a really interesting book about a woman who's bedridden and a friend brings her a snail and they kind of like, she realizes the meaning of life with this snail. But anyways, it's going to be a good weekend and a good couple of days here to read, to sit next to the fire, just get all cozy, because we're going to continue to remain on the colder side. In fact, we spent nearly 14 days below freezing from the 27th of November through yesterday on the 8th. We were below freezing for daytime highs and overnight lows. Obviously, yesterday we got above freezing, so that was the first time in nearly 2 weeks. Some light snow is going to be possible Thursday. We'll touch on that later on in Live at 4 because I think the really cold air is a little bit more important than the snow. We're not expecting a whole lot of snow, maybe a couple of inches here or there, but what we are anticipating for everybody is this cold. Anybody in the blue here is underneath a hazardous cold outlook, so that stretches from northern parts of North Dakota and Minnesota all the way south into parts of Illinois and Indiana, nearly all of Wisconsin except for maybe a tiny sliver of Door County, which is maybe where you want to head this weekend to escape the cold, is going to be underneath that hazardous cold outlook. Future track wind chills. Let's usher in truly this next wave of Arctic air coming out of the northwest. We're going to be feeling anywhere between 20 to 30 degrees below zero Saturday morning into the afternoon. We're at 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon, still feeling 20 to 25 degrees below zero, but Sunday morning is likely going to be the coldest morning when many of us will feel anywhere between 25 to 35 degrees below zero. This Arctic high is a strong one and it is pulling down that air just north of Alaska right now and will be making its way southward as we go throughout the next couple of days and be over parts of the Midwest by the weekend. Look how far south that cool air goes all the way into lower portions of the Mississippi River Valley. But interestingly enough, this second round of cold air stays to our north. We're actually going to tap into some of that warmer air as we head into the second half of next week. When was the last time we only climbed into the single digits? Well, we have to go all the way back to February 18th of this year when our high temperature was 9 degrees. On average, we typically see about one single degree or one daytime high in the single degrees. So we may get 2 over the weekend, which will kind of be around average, give or take. But certainly if you are heading up to Lambeau this weekend for the Packer game, they are up at Lambeau, right?
No, actually they're in Denver, thank goodness.
Okay, so ignore that.
Yes.
I don't know sports. If you're going to be cheering them on at home, you know what? That's probably best. You don't need to be traveling anywhere in this cold. Overnight lows slipping below zero Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with some snow chances before this weekend and then a rain snow mix by the middle of next week when we're flirting with the 40s by next Thursday. Wow. I did mention that light snow chance Thursday and Friday, and as I mentioned, we'll take a look at possible snow totals later on at Live at 4.
That'll feel like 70, 38 degrees, and it's going to be in the 60s in Denver. So lucky for the Packers that are not at Lambeau. All right, Blaze, thank you. Speaking of, the NFC North leading Packers are going to face some big challenges in back-to-back road games.
News 3 Now's senior Packers writer Jason Wilde shows us from Lambeau.
The forecasted kickoff temperature in Denver for Sunday's matchup between the Packers and the Broncos is 62 degrees. So it's not like the Packers have to worry about the chilly temperatures or the leftover snow that we have here at Lambeau Field. What the Packers do have to be ready for is the altitude of the Mile High City, and that is one thing that Matt LaFleur says you can't do much to prepare for.
We had our performance staff talk to our players today, and there are certain things that you can do, but ultimately it is a circumstance, and you got to try to best prepare your body to go out there and handle the elements.
Now, the Packers did travel to Denver a couple summers ago for a training camp practice with the Broncos and a preseason game, but Packers wide receiver Jaden Reed told me there's not much carryover when it's been that long since they've been out west. We'll have full coverage of Packers-Broncos leading into the game, which you can watch right here on Channel 3 on our website, channel3000.com. And while you're there, make sure you sign up for the Packers newsletter, which delivers that coverage directly to your inbox every single day. In Green Bay at Lambeau Field, Jason Wilde, channel3000.com.
Thank you, Jason. And a reminder, you can watch that game right here. Kickoff is scheduled for 3:25 on Sunday, right here on CBS.
Well, coming up on Live at 4, a bill relating to free speech is being discussed in the state capitol. We're finding out how universities are at the core of this debate.
And federal interest rates have dropped once again. We'll tell you how this rate cut could impact home sales.
And some workers at a local hotel are on strike, the Hilton at Monona Terrace. What employees are calling for.
And then the board is being set for the trial of a federal judge in Milwaukee. We'll take a look at the next steps.
Now, Live at 4.
Let's take a look at the numbers on Wall Street today. Green across the board. The Dow is up nearly 500 points. The Nasdaq is up 77. The S&P 500 gained 46. The Federal Reserve cut its benchmark interest rate for the third time this year, citing a cooling job market.
CBS's Evan Moon has more on the decision and what it means for borrowers.
Wall Street rang in the trading day with optimism, expecting the third consecutive interest rate cut from the Federal Reserve. And the Fed delivered, knocking rates down another 1/4 percentage point.
We have lowered our policy rate 3/4 percentage point over our last 3 meetings. This further normalization of our policy stance should help stabilize the labor market.
The benchmark range now sits at 3.5 to 3.75%, its lowest level in more than 3 years.
The Fed basically believes that the job market is slowing down enough that we need a little boost in the economy. We've been in a low hire, low fire environment.
Analysts say it's rare for the labor market to cool while inflation remains high.
Maybe it's due to the uncertainty of the tariffs. Maybe it is due to just generalized anxiety about which jobs are going to be remaining after AI takes hold. We don't know.
With a lack of new economic data due to the recent government shutdown, not all voting members were in agreement. 2 wanted to maintain the previous range. 1 wanted a bigger rate cut. Bankrate analyst Stephen Cates said consumers will see a minimal impact from this cut.
Any single meeting, any single cut is not going to be life-changing for anybody. Nobody's going to wake up tomorrow and feel very different about their life or suddenly have access to credit that they didn't have today.
Cates notes interest on credit card balances and auto loans is still steep.
Fed officials signaled they expect to lower rates just once in 2026. Analysts are predicting a pause on cuts with split views on inflation and Chair Jerome Powell's term ending in May. Evan Moon, CBS News, New York.
President Trump said this week he already has a good idea of who will replace Powell when his term ends in May.
The Nobel Peace Prize ceremony took place in Norway today, but this year's recipient was not there to accept it in person. The daughter of Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado accepted the award on her mother's behalf. Machado, who opposes the Maduro regime, has been in hiding since last year.
She wants to live in a free Venezuela, and she will never give up on that purpose.
Despite the risks to her safety, Machado is expected in Oslo later in the day.
It's the holiday gift no one wants, and you can't even return it for store credit.
No, it's true.
It's stress, everyone.
This year, even more people are feeling anxious as the season gets into full swing. That's according to a brand new poll. Gwen Baumgartner has the details from Los Angeles.
It's supposed to be the most wonderful time of the year, but to many Americans,
it's just stressful all around.
A new poll by the American Psychiatric Association finds there's growing anxiety ahead of the holidays.
Usually only 30% of Americans are stressed, but this year that number popped up to about 44%. So that was pretty alarming for us.
The top holiday-related concerns, worries about missing someone or grief, and affording or finding holiday gifts.
There is a lot of pressure to have the perfect holiday. People feel pressure to buy the right gift or to have the right spread at the holiday table.
That's felt by Christine Tomasian.
It's very expensive.
The APA offers a few ways to ease the financial pressure.
A potluck may be a wonderful time to have people over sharing in the expenses while not breaking the bank. Another thing is a holiday gift exchange. Pick a name out of a hat. rather than paying for gifts for the whole family.
Though it's not always the cost of family that's stress-inducing, sometimes it's the people.
I have so many different family members that all want to see me at the same time, and they don't all get along, and it's just a disaster waiting to happen.
The poll also shows 1 in 3 adults worry about family dynamics.
The holiday hope is not lost. It's not just stress. People surveyed also anticipate a lot of joy this holiday season.
In fact, 44% of Americans say this time of year has a positive impact on their mental health and are looking forward to seeing friends and family, good food, and exchanging gifts. Gwen Baumgartner, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The APA poll also identified emotional differences between age brackets. Young adults were twice as likely to describe themselves as stressed compared with senior citizens. I have a little bit of a trick for this if you need to get away and take a breather during the holidays.
Please.
Hide the milk or butter and be like, we're out of milk or butter. I better go to the grocery store.
That is a great suggestion.
Yeah, you're helping out and you get a little bit of you time.
I love that. Well done. Coming up on Live at 4, several people are displaced after an early morning fire in Madison. We'll tell you where and what investigators are saying.
Then free speech is being called into question on Wisconsin university campuses. The bill legislators are drafting.
And then if you exercise regularly outside, pollution levels could actually counteract the good you're trying to do. Sarah Carlson will break down the numbers in today's wellness segment.
And another dusting of snow could be moving through before alert day cold conditions this weekend. Blaze has the first warn forecast.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Live at 4. Good to have you with us at midweek, and we're beginning with breaking news.
The United States has seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela amid a months-long buildup of military forces.
The vessel was under sanctions, that is according to Bloomberg. It comes as the U.S. military builds up forces around the South American country in a bid to remove Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. This is a developing story, and we'll bring you updates as soon as we get them.
And back here, let's get a look at our weather. Oh, someone's making the most out of winter.
Oh yeah, on Brittingham Bay, the ice fishermen are coming out and taking it. They love this forecast. The colder, the better. Light snow and bitter cold are the weather words, and Blaze will be in the single digits by the weekend. That's hard to believe.
Yes, it is on the way. And yes, the colder we get, the more ice can grow, especially if there's no snow on that ice. Again, please be careful when going out there. I got a report that maybe the ice is about 4 inches thick on the bay, which is just enough for people, but again, no ice is 100% safe. It's 28 degrees out in Dodgeville. Winds are lighter and out of the northwest, still causing a bit of a wind chill. Feels like it's 20 degrees. Plenty of snow on the ground. We're carrying that over from that snowstorm we got back on Thanksgiving. We've added a little bit here and there, certainly not to the amount that we saw over those 2 days, but a couple inches over the last few have bumped up our total November snow to 5.5 inches. So we're nearly halfway to what we normally see through the month of December, and there's even more snow on the way. We're looking at a snow chance Thursday into Friday, and then the bitter cold comes on in once that snow moves on through. That is going to be what brings in those alert day conditions. 20 to 30 degrees below zero, wind chills, air temperatures in the single digits, overnight lows below zero. Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, perfect for ice growth. We're going to take a look at not only the wind chills, but we're also going to touch on that snow, which I promised we would do later on in Live at 4 in just a few minutes.
All right, Blaze, thank you. The state legislature is weighing in on the issue of protection of free speech at public universities around the state.
A Republican-introduced bill could punish universities for violating free speech. Ellie LaLiberte breaks down how the legislation would work.
This bill would require any UW system school or Wisconsin Technical College to pause tuition increases for 2 years if it violates free speech rules more than once.
The bill states these institutions cannot restrict free speech if the speaker is lawful or restrict the time, place, or manner of the speech on campus. The school also cannot create a, quote, free speech zone and limit that speech to that area. Supporters of the bill say additional penalties would help institutions be more vigilant about how they handle these issues.
We are
protecting and respecting students and professors' free speech rights. And for that reason, I think the bill does exactly what it should do.
However, opponents of the bill argue it largely protects conservative speech.
And I don't think the best way to get cultural change is top-down punitive laws. Agree that we need to protect free speech. I don't believe this bill is the best way to do that.
The bill narrowly passed the Senate back in November, but will need to make it through the Assembly before it could head to the governor's desk. Reporting at the state capitol, Ellie La Liberté, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Ellie. The Universities of Wisconsin system also sent a letter to the state legislature that says, quote, the penalties for violations prescribed in this bill would put the financial health of our universities at serious risk.
Well, jury selection starts tomorrow in the federal trial of Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan. She's accused of obstruction and concealing an undocumented immigrant from ICE agents during an April incident involving Eduardo Flores Ruiz, who was later deported. Prosecutors expect to call up to 28 witnesses, including ICE and federal agents, and say it could take several days before the defense presents its case. Video from a courthouse hallway showing agents following Flores Ruiz and an interaction with Judge Dugan will be a key part of the trial. Judge Dugan has pleaded not guilty.
Workers at the Hilton Madison Monona Terrace and labor leaders gathered on the picket line today to demand better wages and affordable health care amid a boom in tourism in Dane County. Workers say they're struggling to afford basic necessities, including housing, food, and health care. In a new report, the union says a third of surveyed workers say they or someone in their household have skipped medical services because they can't afford them. And 1 in 5 say they have skipped meals to cut costs.
Breast cancer runs in my family. It's been 15 years since I've had a mammogram screening. I'm scared for my health and I need to be there for my children. I don't want to miss important milestones.
No worker in Madison should have to choose between buying groceries and paying rent. Gina, Zenny, Aaron, and all the workers at the Hilton Madison deserve to make enough to take care of their families.
Workers voted this summer to unionize and say they're now fighting for their first contract. We have reached out to the Marcus Corporation for comment about this, but have not heard back.
A family of 7 and their dog are now without a home after an early morning fire on Madison's south side. This happened just before 2 this morning on Beld Street near the Catholic Multicultural Center. Madison firefighters put out the fire within minutes. They believe it started near the kitchen. Investigators are working on determining the cause. Thankfully, no injuries have been reported, and the Red Cross is helping the family.
Wisconsin's Department of Workforce Development has released employment numbers for the month of September, and things have pretty much stayed the same. The unemployment rate stayed at 3.1%, which is just slightly lower than the national average of 4.4%. However, labor force participation dropped slightly, while still being around 2% more than the rest of the nation.
What stood out to me was that we continue to see the labor force shrinking as we lose more and more of the baby boomers, which is we all expected this, and we know this is happening nationwide and actually throughout the developed world. But it's still it's a stark reminder that we're still in the midst of this demographic shift, and it's something to keep our eyes on.
Wisconsin's labor force dropped by 11,500 people in September and over 50,000 this year. Well, in health news today, Parkinson's disease is on the rise.
The rate of new cases is rising dramatically faster, even faster than Alzheimer's now. Sarah Carlson is here with more. Sarah.
That's right, Brady and Susan. Alzheimer's is still a more common disorder, but Parkinson's disease is now the fastest growing neurodegenerative disease in the world. Damage to the dopamine-producing neurons in the brain cause muscle stiffness, balance issues, and a host of other problems. A major study published this year in the British Medical Journal projected that the number of people living with Parkinson's will more than double by 2050. The cause of Parkinson's remains unknown, and experts think the rapid rise could be linked to genetics or environmental toxins, citing an urgent need for more research and a foolproof diagnostic test. about the use of cosmetic face fillers. Fillers are injectable substances commonly used to target wrinkles or smooth the skin, things like Botox. Now, doctors in the UK say if filler is injected too close to blood vessels, it could cause blocked arteries, blindness, or even skin loss. These facial fillers in the U.S. are regulated by the FDA. Both countries are advising clinics carry out ultrasounds before giving dermal fillers. And finally, if you're like me and like to get outside to exercise, even in the winter, a new study unfortunately shows you may be losing the benefits of the hard work if you're breathing in poor quality air. A new study shows air pollution like that can counteract the heart and lung benefits that we get from exercising outside. So people who live next to a busy road are most at risk. Researchers say if you're concerned about air quality, there are pollution monitors that link to most smartphones, or you can just try to work away from the traffic. And it's so funny, when I read this story, I think I love to either walk the dog or run outside, and when a truck or something goes by and it's stinky, and now I know I'm right.
Right.
Good for you.
No, it was right. And I read that study. If you want to read it, it's in U.S. News and World Report.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. It said the worst city in the country for exercising outside is Los Angeles.
Oh, sure.
And the best one is Minot, North Dakota.
Oh, yeah, why not Minot?
So you want to find like wide open spaces.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Away from the highways and the airports is probably the best.
Well, and you still get props for getting out there and doing it. I don't know how she'll run when it's
not
30
this
below.
weekend. No, not this
You
weekend.
won't? Oh, come
no,
on.
I'm getting a little wimpier.
Well, that makes me feel better.
Good.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah.
Sure.
Next on Live at 4, Lisa Briggs with the Bruce Company joins us to answer all of your plant questions.
You can still send a question for Lisa at the address on your screen. It's tips@channel3000.com.
And do you like yoga, dogs, and helping out charities?
Buddy.
Well, after the break, we have the event for you.
And then we're shaking off the snow of an alert day and heading into yet another one, this time for the cold. Blaze is back with the First Warn forecast.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
We are taking a live look at a frosty Lambeau Field up in Green Bay. It's 24 degrees and mostly cloudy. The NFL has just announced the Packers could be playing a game in Munich, Germany in the next few years. Participating teams have not yet been announced, and the Packers have made 2 winless trips overseas in the past 5 years.
Pretty to see Lambeau all decked out for Christmas, isn't it? Well, we're taking your plant questions today for Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company.
Yeah, she's hiding behind this poinsettia. We'll get to that. Please email your questions to tips@channel3000.com. Hey, Lisa.
Hi, guys. Did you know that Friday is National Poinsettia Day?
I did not.
Now you do.
Well, we just got these beautiful poinsettias.
Yeah, you did. From somebody I know.
Give us the poinsettia 101.
The lowdown on poinsettias. Okay, so poinsettias are native to Mexico. They were discovered by the then U.S. ambassador to Mexico. His name was Joseph, but his last name was Poinsett. And this is why they're called poinsettias, because they named them after him. So they're in the Euphorbia family. They're not a cactus because they're not succulent, but very similar cultural care. So they like to dry out between waterings. They need lots of sun. And they do like very warm temperatures, just like it would be in Mexico.
Yeah, they can be kind of tricky, right?
They can be a little tricky because a lot of times people will put them by a window where there's a draft. They like warm temps, but they don't like being by like a heat vent or something like that. So just in a place where the air is kind of still, let it dry out between waterings. The other thing about poinsettias is they often come in these wrappers. And so when people water them, if they don't put a slit in the bottom of the wrapper, then that fills up with water.
Right.
And then they get gross and they kind of drown and the roots rot. So that is not a good thing either. So if you get them in the wrappers, just put a little slice in the bottom and then put that in a dish.
Oh, great.
So that the water will drain through.
Now, if you do everything properly, how long can you keep them?
Poinsettias will last for a long time. I think this is not a flower. The flower is actually this little yellow bit here. This is a modified leaf called a bract. Once the bract is colored, it stays colored and will not fade for quite a long time. So as long as they have high light, it'll stay nice and bright well into spring.
Wow.
May I ask a controversial question?
Yes, you may, and I know what it's going to be, too.
Poinsettia or poinsettia?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me a different controversial.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so phonetically, it's poinsettia.
Okay.
I just kind of slur it. And honestly, botanic language is so weird. People say all kinds of things. If you say poinsettia, nobody at the garden center is going to make fun of you.
So no one's going to
promise. No one's going to get offended.
Now, what's the real controversial
So
question?
I thought you were going to ask me about, are they poisonous?
Oh, yes, that was my next question.
So poinsettias, euphorbias have a very milky sap that is very alkaline. So kind of like if you put a ripe banana or an unripe banana in your mouth, you know, there's that feeling. And it's irritating. So if you got a leaf and got some of that sap in your mouth, you wouldn't continue to eat it because it could cause some irritation. So they are toxic in that way, but I think they did a study and you'd have to eat like hundreds of leaves to get sick. So if your pet chews on a leaf, it might irritate and they might sort of vomit it up, but they're not toxic in the sense that they're going to kill a pet.
Oh, that's good to know.
Oh, that's very
that
good
is
to
good
know.
to know.
I thought they were dangerous for cats, especially.
They are not. They're
Okay.
just, like I said, they're irritating. They're toxic in that they're irritating to skin surfaces, but they are not poisonous.
That's good to know.
Yes.
And they come in a variety of different colors?
Tons of colors, including those crazy new, like, injected with color and glittered. So yes, all the standard red, blue, pinks are normal. There are lots of new bi-colors that are out this year. And then of course those fantasy poinsettias with the sort of like blue, or there were some yellow ones this year.
Oh,
kind of crazy.
I think I like the classic.
I think I do too. And to celebrate the day on Friday, they're going to be 30% off in the garden center.
Great.
So stop by Friday if you want to pick one up. It's a perfect day. Before the really gets really cold, and they're very touchy with the cold weather, so we'd like them to be in your house by the end of the day.
Do you
on
need to
Friday.
move them near like a heat source, or just as long
In
as
the
the
garden
house
center,
is
no,
nice
just
and
as long
warm?
as the house is like a normal temperature, they'll be fine.
Okay.
Very good.
All
to
right,
see
great.
you.
Good to see you, Lisa.
Sorry, no
Thanks.
questions today, but there you go.
Yeah.
Now we have a doctoral dissertation on poinsettias. We know everything there is to know.
Absolutely, and
Thanks,
then
Lisa.
some.
So Blaze, how many are you going to buy?
None. Only because I have cats, and they're going to chew those up. And I know that we just learned that they are not toxic, but I don't want to pick up cat puke. And I
fair.
actually like the plants, and I don't want them to be torn up. They tore up my pepper plant and my basil plant. They
had
are
a nerve,
they
huh?
are not on my good list. They're not going to get any Christmas presents this year. We talked about the cold, and we'll touch on it again, but let's focus on the light snow now that we're expected to receive as we go Thursday into Friday. First, that hazardous cold outlook, all pretty much of Wisconsin is going to be underneath this Arctic blast that is going to be coming out of the Arctic Circle starting later Friday afternoon. Watch it come on in with those purples and those pinks. 20 to 30 degrees below zero is our wind chill value Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon, still feeling about 15 to 25 degrees below zero. Sunday morning, though, is likely going to be the coldest, when many of us will probably feel anywhere between 25 to 35 degrees below zero. The good news is by Sunday afternoon, that cold air is starting to move east, and by Monday morning, when the kids are going back to school, while still cold feeling, we aren't anticipating those very dangerous cold wind chill values to stick around throughout the rest of the day. And then further into next week, we are looking at warmer temperatures. Some snow is going to be possible Thursday afternoon into Friday, mainly across southwestern Wisconsin. This has been pushed a little bit further south and west than some of our data was showing this morning. So we're looking at probably about 1 inch to 3 inches there in parts of Grant, Crawford County, Iowa, Lafayette, maybe squeezing into parts of Greene County. Everybody else likely a dusting. If this were to shift a little bit further north, then these totals would as well. But at most, we're probably thinking about 3 inches. So nothing too crazy. This is a quick little clipper that's going to be moving in and out as we go Thursday night into Friday. Saturday, a few lingering flurries, some light snow will be possible. But as we look ahead to next week, after that cold air moves on through, other than that rain snow chance Wednesday, we'll actually maybe do a little bit of melting there by Thursday as temperatures climb into the 30s. So bundle up this weekend and try to limit your time and your pet's time outdoors with that dangerous cold.
You're watching News 3 Now live at 4. Moving forward.
Finally at 4, oh, how precious is this? Shelter from the Storm Animal Rescue is inviting the community to a heartwarming holiday puppy yoga fundraiser. It's happening this Saturday.
Organizers say this event blends relaxation, seasonal cheer, and of course, look at those adorable adoptable puppies. Yoga will be at the St. Denis Parish on Saturday at 1:30. Spots are about $50 each. Registration is encouraged because, believe it or not, the spots go very quickly. And you can find more on the Shelter from the Storm Animal Rescue website.
Oh, I would love to do that. Will your dogs let you put hats and bows and stuff on them? No, never?
No.
What about your cats?
No. I try to put a collar on my cats, and that was nixed pretty quick.
You have the scratches to prove it?
They are indoor cats. The dogs, I mean, we'll buy them like little outfits, but they're kind of fat, so they don't really fit in them. They might not be good yoga partners either.
We're all indoor cats for the next couple days.
Yes, it is going to be a cold one out there. If we can quickly show up the 10-day single digits this weekend, please bundle up. And speaking of pets, limit their time and your time outdoors, especially in the morning.
All right, please. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Madison Metro Transit is short more than $5 million, and taxpayers are now on the hook. Banks looks into what happened and how leaders are looking to fix the problem. And Wisconsin's Department of Workforce Development has released its September numbers, how they're pulling numbers despite a lack of information from the federal government. Thanks for watching Live at 4 today. We hope to see you back here tomorrow. Be safe out there, everyone. And you can always find us streaming 24/7 on Channel 3000+. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.